Well, hi, folks. I'm Chris Dorr. I'm the director here for Ohio Gun Owners. And in this short video, I'm going to go over the two candidates running to be the next U.S. Senator from Ohio. First of all, I'm going to talk about Sherrod Brown. He's the Democrat incumbent. And then I'm going to switch over after that to Bernie Moreno, the Republican challenger. There is a lot on the line in this election. If you are pro-gun, pro-family, pro-Second Amendment, pro-closed borders, you're going to want to watch this video. And the reason why this race is so important is because very likely whoever wins this race, that party is going to control the U.S. Senate for the next couple of years. For the last couple of years, it's been the Democrats and Chuck Schumer, and they've used that position to either launch major attacks against our Second Amendment freedoms or backstop President Joe Biden's administration as they launched major attacks against our Second Amendment, especially through executive orders or agency rule changes via the ATF. So we're going to break down these two candidates for you specifically on the gun issue. And I'm really targeting this video towards pro-gun union members and independents who are trying to figure out who they're going to vote for here. We are hearing lots of reports that people are being told who they should vote for, but we want you guys to make up your own decisions when it comes to the Second Amendment issue. I think there's a lot of material here that can help you guys out. So with that, let's start off with Sherrod Brown. I'm going to put a little I right next to his name because although he's been in there since Abraham Lincoln, essentially, he is the incumbent and he is running for re-election. I'm going to switch over to a red marker here now, though, because he's earned it. First of all, I think this is true in life, you can find out a lot about a person by who their friends are. And in politics, you can definitely figure out who they are if you take a look at their endorsements. Sherrod Brown is endorsed by Michael Bloomberg and his gun control organizations. That says a lot right there. Michael Bloomberg is the godfather of gun control in America. He is the financier of the gun control movement. He writes checks every year. Roughly $100 million a year is written from Michael Bloomberg to the gun control movement to try to finance the destruction of our Second Amendment freedoms, both at the federal level and at the state level. Michael Bloomberg has endorsed Sherrod Brown. Again, this is the guy we're talking about right here. Michael Bloomberg has endorsed him. So has Giffords. Giffords is the gun control organization started up by Gabby Giffords after she got wounded by a shooter in Arizona. She's a former congresswoman. Her husband, Mike Kelly, is the U.S. Senator from Arizona. And that's just another bad sign. Giffords as well focuses on passing gun control at both the federal and state level. So those are both marks against Sherrod Brown. But now let's get into the policy really quickly here. He voted yes on banning AR-15s and all what they call assault weapons. We call them, you and I could probably call them semi-automatic firearms. They want to ban not just what they determine assault weapons to be. And by the way, they can't ever define the terms there anyway. But they want to ban, Sherrod Brown wants to ban Ruger 1022s, Remington 1187 shotguns. They want to get rid of any firearm really that is an effective tool against tyranny. And folks, that's what the Second Amendment's about. It's not about hunting deer as much as Joe Biden likes to stand up there and rail and rant about those things, and Kamala Harris too. It's not about that. The Second Amendment is about making sure we, the people, have the ability to keep our government from ever becoming too tyrannical. So he voted yes on the AR-15 ban. By the way, I've got the bill number here for that. He voted yes on Senate Amendment 711 on April 17 of 2013. He also voted for it way back in 1994, the Clinton gun ban. So, I mean, this guy's been in here longer than Moses. He voted to ban standard capacity magazines. They call them high capacity magazines. There's nothing high capacity about them. Again, this boils down to how you view the Second Amendment. We view it as a tool to keep tyranny at bay. These people are trying to erect a straw man of public safety or hunting as the reason for the Second Amendment when it's got nothing to do with that. Here's a little history lesson for those who don't know. In the 20th century alone, governments murdered an easy 100 million innocent citizens at a minimum worldwide. Okay. They did that. They were able to do that because those people, the people they were ruling over, didn't have the ability to defend themselves. That's an old story. Tyranny is not just relegated to the 20th century. It's alive and well today. It was alive and well 1,000 years ago, and it will be alive 1,000 years from now. So our founding fathers knew this. That's why they codified the Second Amendment in the Bill of Rights, and that's why people like Sherrod Brown are trying to tear this stuff down. He also voted no on national reciprocity. This is a pro-gun bill. I can give you a bill number too here. National reciprocity. I can't find it at the moment. But national reciprocity, it's a simple idea. It means if you have a CHL in one state, a concealed handgun license or a concealed weapons license in one state, you should be able to carry that gun in another state for self-defense. It's pretty basic, but that's what these people do. They vote against that kind of stuff. That's common. That's real common sense. Sherrod Brown also voted to fund red flag gun confiscation laws for every state in America when he voted for Joe Biden's bipartisan Safer Communities Act gun control bill. And folks, all of this right here, all of this totality adds up to an easy F grade for Sherrod Brown. He's earned every bit of it. And by the way, just in case you're tempted to sit here and think, well, maybe some of this stuff works. Almost everything that you see here, in fact, everything that you see here is already on the books in Illinois. And you don't see people loading up their vans and heading to Chicago for their summer vacations. The reason why is simple. Chicago is a war zone every night of the year that it's above 70 degrees. Gang violence, criminal violence, all the gun control laws on the books in Illinois have never stopped those killers. That's the basic truth about gun control. You can pass 1 million gun control laws and violent criminals will never obey them because they are violent criminals. It's that simple. But when that truth is evident, you have to ask yourself the question then, why do people like Sherrod Brown continue to push the gun control agenda? Well, folks, I think the answer is clear. He also voted for national gun registration. I better put that on here real quick. National gun registration. He voted for that one as well. And this bill simply gives the federal government the ability to track, trace, and register gun owners like they're a bunch of sex offenders. So you ask yourself, if gun control is a failure, why do they want to do all this kind of stuff? Why do they want a national gun database of guns and gun owners? Well, it's simple. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris say it. Beto O'Rourke said it back when the Democrats used to hold primaries to select the Democrat nominee for presidents. Now they just depose sitting presidents and put their own people in there. But he said it nationally. He said, hell yes, we're going to take them. We're going to take your AR-15s. Joe Biden says it almost weekly. Ban them, ban assault weapons. Kamala Harris is out there talking about mandatory gun buybacks. Folks, this is gun confiscation. That's why people like Sherrod Brown vote for national gun registration here. They need to know who owns what guns and where they are and where they live. Because one day, like they said, they want to confiscate them. So he's earned every bit of this F grade. Sherrod Brown is not a working man moderate when it comes to the Second Amendment. He is a hardcore radical left activist when it comes to gun control, and he wants to destroy the personal right or the individual right to own a firearm for self-defense. That's Sherrod Brown. Let's jump over and talk about Bernie Moreno here for a second. And I got to change my pen color here because as we talk about Bernie, I've got some much better news for you. Number one, Bernie promised right here at the bottom. Back during the Republican primary, Bernie Moreno was the first one to do this. He went on record and filled out his 2024 Ohio Gun Owners Candidate Survey 100% pro-gun. He answered every single question correctly. I think there was 10 of them. And they weren't just softballs. Do you support the Second? No. It's this stuff right here. Let's get into it. He said he's going to be a no on universal gun registration. That was this one right down here that Sherrod Brown already supported. and voted for. Bernie Moreno's a no on tracking, tracing, and registering gun owners like they're a bunch of sex offenders. That's good. We don't want governments, especially governments that are trending tyrannical, very quickly to have lists of gun and gun owners. Okay. Bernie Moreno's a hardcore no on that. He's a hardcore no on national red flag gun confiscation. Let me explain this one, unpack this just a little bit. Red flag laws are the destruction of due process rights for gun owners. And if you've been involved in the fight for gun rights in Ohio for any amount of time, you know there's been a lot of push for this, especially at the Ohio State House. Bernie Moreno, again, he's the Republican running against this guy, Sherrod Brown. Bernie Moreno's trying to unseat Sherrod Brown, and he's a big hardcore no on national red flags. That's a fantastic thing. If you're a gun owner, if you're a pro-gun union member, a pro-gun independent, and you're trying to figure out, okay, guns is my issue. Where do these two candidates stand? What you're being fed right now that Sherrod Brown is a moderate is a damned lie. It's a total lie. He campaigns every 6 years for a year in Ohio as being a moderate, but then as a member of Congress for 5 years straight after he gets elected, he legislates like a total Hollywood liberal. He espouses and endorses and promotes the entire radical left agenda. And I'm not just talking about guns here. You can go all the way down the list of liberal issues. Sherrod Brown's a radical supporter of all of it. But back to Bernie Moreno, he's also a no on the assault weapons ban or AR-15 bans. In our question to Bernie, I asked him very straight up, you know, the AR-15 is a firearm that people own as a check and balance on tyrannical government. Are you a no on that? Because there's a lot of leftist liberals out there saying that we have to ban these weapons of war. Don't ever forget, though, the Democrats who are calling for this, like Sherrod Brown, when they call for bans on AR-15s like he did right here, they're also the same people who did not condemn Joe Biden when he left billions of dollars worth of real American weapons of war on the streets of Afghanistan. That weaponry is being used by Taliban terrorists today to punish, kill, murder, do whatever to American allies in Afghanistan. Did Sherrod Brown ever come out and condemn that stuff? Absolutely not. Did Sherrod Brown ever condemn the Democrat Party when Attorney General Eric Holder under Obama was selling guns to the Mexican drug cartels under Operation Fast and Furious that were then used against American citizens and Border Patrol agents? They were murdered. Google Brian Terry. Did Sherrod Brown ever once condemn it when his party was obviously taking action that resulted in the death of innocent people? No. And Sherrod Brown never does that. But that's why I'm very glad to report that Bernie Moreno is a hardcore no on an AR-15 ban. He understands this stuff. He's also pro-gun on passing pro-gun bills. So this is a fantastic thing. He believes we need to go on offense and pass some pro-gun legislation. I can't remember the last piece of pro-gun legislation that actually got enacted at the federal level. We've done a lot here in Ohio, but national reciprocity, again, it's a very simple idea. If you have a concealed handgun license in Ohio, you should be able to that license should be valid in all 50 states. And I, for one, get sick and tired of having to drive through Illinois to Iowa, which is my home state. But Illinois is a totally anti-gun state. An Ohio concealed handgun license should be absolutely valid in all of the states. But people like Sherrod Brown voted no on that. Bernie Moreno says, I'm going to vote yes on that. So this is kind of the cluster of issues that the next U.S. senator from Ohio is going to have to face if they get elected to office on November 5th. I wanted you guys to have this information so you can have some objective proof and be able to share this information with all of your pro-gun friends, family, loved ones, neighbors, co-workers, church members, all of the above. Don't share this around your anti-gun friends. I don't have any of those, so I don't really actually know what that's like. But people say we're just too toxically pro-gun here at Ohio Gun Owners. But there's a lot on the line in these elections. We believe the radical left when they tell us openly that they want to confiscate our firearms. We believe them when they stand out there and say that they want to repeal, like Gavin Newsom said, he wants to repeal the Second Amendment. These are not things to be taken lightly. We believe them when they say those things, and because they have the track record to prove that they're serious about what they're talking about. So, folks, please share this video with all of your pro-gun friends. If you see Sherrod Brown on the campaign trail, grill him about these things. He'll sit there and lie. He'll sit there and lie out of both sides of his mouth. He'll say that he doesn't want to do these things. We all saw Kamala Harris on the debate stage say stuff like she doesn't want to confiscate, but then we have all these old video clips of her saying the exact opposite. We believe them, and there's so much on the line in these elections. So last but not least, after you've shared this video with all of your friends, I'd ask you to do one more thing. On November 5th, round up every gun owner you know, grab them, don't take no for an answer, grab them, head down to your local polls and vote pro-gun.